Hey dear math lovers, welcome back to Solve Sphere. So today we've got a puzzle that will blow your mind. It's not your typical question, but it's a challenge that combines logic, patience, and a twist that might surprise you later. So here's the deal. We're solving an exponential question that might look simple at the first glance, but has a hidden twist that you can't miss. So are you ready to dive in and see if you can keep up till the end? So let's get started. Now, here's the equation that we're solving today. 3 raised to power x plus 1 plus 3 raised to power of x plus 3 raised to power x minus 1 is equals to 351. And now our goal is to figure out the value of x. Sounds easy, right? But trust me, there's more to this question than that meets the eye. Let's break it down step by step. Now, first, let's start by understanding basically what's happening in the equation. So to notice here, we have three terms. The first term is 3 raised to power of x plus 1. The second term is 3 raised to power of x, and the third term is 3 raised to power x minus 1. So let me first start by telling you a very basic rule or property of indices, that is a to the power of m multiplied by a to the power of n. Now we notice that both of these bases are the same. Actually, when both of the bases are same, the powers get add and the base becomes a single one. Let me show you how. Now this a combines to a single one, a single a, and both of these powers would add eventually. So this becomes a power m plus n. Understand? Now, if you notice, then the same thing is basically happening in the first term and in the last term. Now we can break both of these terms down and make it even a more simple equation. Let me show you how. So we have 3 raised to power x plus 1. Okay. Now if you notice that we can break it by breaking 3 into two parts. And the first part would contain 3 raised to power of x, whereas the second part would be 3 raised to power of 1. And we've simplified this equation. You see how easy that was, and we would do the same thing with the second equation. This is 3 raised to power x minus 1. We'd break it down into 3 raised to power of x multiplied by 3 raised to power of 1. You see how simple that was, and now we would rewrite the equation. So let me just rewrite it. 3 raised to power of x multiplied by 3 raised to power of 1. Where did this came from? This came from the breaking down of this equation. Then add 3 raised to power of x that was already present, and after that 3 raised to power of x multiplied by 3 raised to power of minus 1, 3 raised to power of minus 1. This whole thing is equals to 351. You see how easy that was, and later we would also do something with this box. Okay, most of you would have already guessed what we would do here, because 3 has a negative 1 with it. But let's take and just solve this equation. Now if you notice, now you see that how all of these terms are connected. Okay, so here's where the magic begins. To make this even more simpler, we notice that all the terms involve 3 raised to power of x. You see now what we would do here. So here's the kicker. We would factor out 3 raised to power of x. Let's just do it. 3 raised to power of x is taken common from the equation, and now we are left with first this thing 3 raised to power of 1 plus, we don't have something or anything here, so there's basically 1, as 3 raised to power of x is factored out, and then we have 3 raised to power of minus 1. Basically 3 raised to power of minus 1 is equals to 1 over 3 to the power 1. Okay, this is basically the reciprocal of 3. We close the bracket here and we have this whole thing equals to 351. Now most of you would be thinking, why did we factor out 3 raised to power of x? Well, it's because it helps us to combine everything into a single term. Okay, making it very much easier to solve. Just stick with me and you'll see that it would get even better. Next, what we would do, we would now simplify everything that is inside the parenthesis. Basically that is inside the brackets. Okay, and simplifying these things is not a big deal, because this is just basic math, what we have been studying since primary school. So let's just start. 3 raised to power of x is at as it is, and 3 plus 1 we all know that is equals to 4. Now we are left with 4 plus 1 over 3. This whole thing is equals to 351. What we would do here, as we know that the bases, denominators are not the same, hence here the thing we would do is taking an LCM. Okay, I will not show you each and every step of how to take the LCM. I'll just do it directly, as we all are familiar with the LCM. So this gets multiplied by 3, this gets multiplied by 1. Now 3 raised to power of x, this whole thing is equals to 4 3s are 12, hence we have 12 plus 1, and here we have the whole thing. I have a denominator 2 3. This is equals to 351. Okay, 12 plus 1 is equals to 13, so let's rewrite it here. This is equals to 3 raised to power of x over 13 divided by 3 is equals to 351. You are noticing that this equation is getting simpler and simpler. At this point you might be wondering what's next. Now here comes the fun part and literally the easiest part of the equation. What we would do here is that we would get rid of the fraction. And how we would do that? Just see. We have 3 at the denominator here, and if we multiply both of our sides with 3, we'll get rid of the fraction. That's a simple step we would apply here. So this is 3 raised to power of x multiplied by 13 over 3. This whole thing is multiplied by 3. Okay, and we have here is equals to 351. This whole thing is multiplied by 3 also. In a result we get 3 cancel, and 351 multiplied by 3 leads us to 1053. Now the equation we are left with here is, let me just show you, 3 raised to power of x multiplied by 13 is equals to 1053. Now this step ensures that we are working with only whole numbers, which makes this calculation much cleaner. We're just one step closer to the solution, so stick with me. Let me just erase the board and come back to you with a clean board so that everything is much more clearer. And now the board is clean. Okay, I have written down the latest equation that you were left with, that is 3 raised to power of x multiplied by 13 is equals to 1053. Now you notice that 3 raised to power of x is multiplying by 13 here, and we have to isolate 3 raised to power of x in order to apply anything, or the next step we would have to do. So the thing we would do here is that we would multiply both of the sides by 13, hence we would isolate 3 raised to power of x. Now let's do that. We would divide both of the sides by 13. This is divided by 13 and this is also divided by 13. Hence on the left hand side we are only left with 3 raised to power of x, and on the right hand side when 1053 is divided by 13 we are left with 81. Now we've simplified everything down to 3 raised to power of x is equals to 81. What does this mean for x now? We'd be thinking, so let's solve it. We know that 81 is basically a multiple of 3, and 81 is actually equals to 3 raised to power of 4. We all know that, okay? So this thing is now 3 raised to power of x is equals to 3 raised to power of 4, and when you know the bases are the same, the exponents must be equal. Hence the value of x is equals to 4. That's it. The value of x is equals to 4. But wait. Before we wrap everything up, we have to double check that our solution is to be absolutely correct, and we have to be absolutely sure about our solution. Okay, we know that x is equals to 4. We've arrived to the correct answer, but let's just double check it. And how we would double check it? The first equation we had was 3 raised to power of x plus 1 plus 3 raised to power of x plus 3 raised to power x minus 1 was equals to 351. Now in this equation we would substitute the value of x, and then if left hand side and right hand side are equal, then basically we'll know that our answer is correct. So this double check method should be applied every time so that you never get the answer wrong. For the first one, 3 raised to power 4 plus 1 plus 3 raised to power of 4 plus 3 raised to power 4 minus 1. 4 plus 1 is basically equals to 5, and 3 raised to power of 5 is 243. 3 raised to power of 4 as we know 81, and 4 minus 1 is equals to 3, hence 3 cube is equals to 27. This whole thing is equals to 351. Let's check it. And on adding all of these things, 243 plus 81 plus 27, we get 351. Hence the left hand side and right hand side are equal. So this leads to our correct answer, that is x is equals to 4. Okay, it checks out perfectly. The solution is correct and the value of x is equals to 4. So wow, that was a very quite that was quite the journey, wasn't it? We started with a seemingly simple equation and step by step we uncovered the solution. If you enjoyed solving this exponential puzzle with me, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more math challenges. And hey, if you think you've got a tougher question, drop it down in the comments and I might just solve it in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.